Okay, we're still working on this CBR 1000 RR Repsol Edition, 2007, and as you can see here, we're getting ready to change the oil. Pretty simple. The right side, or some people refer to as the passenger side, fairing, you want to have that come off because the oil filter is right there. Then you have your oil drain, which I believe that looks like a 14 millimeter. So we'll get that done and going, and let's see here, you have Allen right there, or hex as they say, hex there, and you have a couple of hexes here, here, here. I don't recommend it, but some people, you don't have to take the whole thing off because it actually goes up there as well. Just want to get this off and just lean it out, and then you should have access to it. Of course, make sure you're using a drain, along having some cardboard underneath is helpful so you don't make too much of a mess in case it splatters. But most importantly, obviously, you want to make sure that the inside of the fairing doesn't get wet with oil, because right there is your exhaust, which goes all the way down and up. That'll be a fire hazard. So there's your oil filter right there. I know you can't see it yet, but that shine, that's it. We'll be right. All right, so just before I start on this again, it's the 5 millimeter hex. Again, a bowl on one side, and you got a flat one right there. I typically will like to use the flat one just to break them loose, and then you can just spin these off with your fingers, nice and easy. I'm sure you can do the rest. So I'm going to get as much as I can off necessarily, and we'll get that filter going. Okay, so as you can see, I was successful with actually lowering just this lower fairing, which I wasn't even aware was an option, but easy access. There's your oil filter. It looks like someone put a nice quality K&N on there. The part number of the K&N is KN204. See if you can see it. Sorry for the upside down. Also, I want to make note that there are these car-like plastic screws that must be taken off very gently. I suggest using a pin tool to extract them, along with a shorty screwdriver. So you have, to get this apart, you have 4 of these, I should say, 2 of those and 2 of those. Please remember, take note where they come from and where they go back, because you could see this is anchored for centered. So you got 2 plastic screws, 2 regular 5 millimeter hex, and 2 with shoulders or shanks, if you will. Now we're going to go ahead and change the oil filter and the oil. Also want to point out that this looks like maybe a 17 millimeter hex nut on there, but believe it or not, a lot of times if you got some good finger strength, you can, there you go, just take it off that way. Now again, see the oil's dripping there, so you want to stop that, spin it back on, and get your rags. Okay, so I'm going to rescind what I said. Instead of 3 plastic screws, you're actually going to get the third one. Let's do it once, do it right. Hey folks, so I have this tool here, which is a great button tool. I got off Amazon for like, I think 10 bucks or something. And then that just pops out, no big deal. And then now you have proper access. Okay, so now when the oil drips, it's going to drip straight down, not on any fairings, not on any of the exhaust, but you can see how close it is to the exhaust while it's draining. Ooh. Yeah, some might. It's got a thin drip already, so just keep backing it off. It stops, take it down, and you can see how nasty. Yuck. God only knows the last time this was changed. Give that a good cleanup. We got a rag here. Always make sure, whether you're working on cars, trucks, any kind of oil change you're ever doing, make sure that the O-ring or seal is still on the filter. Because if it's here and you double gasket, bye-bye motor. Oil's gonna come out real fast and it's gonna be nasty, and then you gotta do a motor. On a motorcycle, it's easy. A car, expensive. Well, motorcycle expensive too. All right, so now we're gonna drain it. I believe it was a 14 millimeter. So that's a correction on the oil drain plug. It's actually a 12 millimeter. So we're gonna do that real fast. Okay, butterfingers. Working around oil, it happens. Once again, I'm going to be using the Milwaukee. No, I'm not, because I can't get it in there. Okay, so we're using a tiny snap-on ratchet. And as you can see, it came off, broke loose. You just kind of loosen it by hand. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. Just don't want to get oil on the phone. Get ready for gross. Here comes the nasty. The motorcycle milkshake. No bueno. That is a very nasty color. I would say that, let's get a little sample here. Look how muddy and disgusting that is. Everybody out there in the oil changing world, when your manufacturer says they want you to change the oil at good intervals, you might want to do it, because there's all these little ports where the oil has to get up throughout the motor, and oil that's left in there too long can char and clog up those holes, and then you have poor lubrication, then you have noises, and then ultimately motor problems. So easy way to avoid that, just spend the $50 or whatever it takes for the oil and filter, do it yourself, or pay 3 times as much and bring it to a motorcycle shop. As you can see, it's very easy. Total time is probably about 10-15 minutes max when not videoing. Alright, almost done draining. I'm going to let that sit there for about another minute or two and let gravity do its job. Meanwhile, we'll get the filter back on. So as you can see here, I went with a Fram PH6017A. I found this to be a lot better than the K&N after doing my research on it. Yes, it doesn't have the fancy little hex on there, but really you don't need it. Again, as always, make sure you match these up. I can't do it with one hand, but what you want to do is you want to essentially line this up with that. Make sure the O-ring fits the same. You can do a mock-up thread. Spins on real nice. Now, what I like to do is I take, for black oil filter cans, I take a silver pen and I will write down the date and the mileage, kind of oil I used, things of that nature, because if I'm not the next mechanic, at least the next one will know how long it's been between oil changes. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to put some oil on there, close up the drain, and just reverse order everything on the, just again, make sure you know where the bolts came from. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Hopefully this video helped you. Any questions, please reach out to us. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Oh yeah, there's your oil sight window. I'm going to actually keep going with this video. Now that I think about it, I'm going to make sure that the oil is properly leveled, and we'll go over that. Okay, so now we got the oil plug back in. You can see right there the 12mm. Just give it the old German measurement. Good and tight. Okay, not kung fu tight. That's Chinese tightness. Anyway, there's the oil sight plug there, and we're going to enter the oil into the motor crankcase right here, which you'll find right behind the fairing there. Let me get the... So now you can see I'm entering, or I'm adding oil with my left hand. In my right hand I'm holding the phone. So we got 3.6 quarts going into the motor. Okay, and you see, nice clean oil. And what you want to do is, you want to make sure that it's between these two marks right here. There's one there, and one there. Let's see if I can get it closer, yeah. I don't want it to focus. And then you want to let it rest. Make sure you got it to the right height. Oil should always be between those two marks, and clean is always good as well. Alright, I'm going to finish this up, be right back. Just want to add that you'll see that when you put the oil in before you start it, it's okay to have the oil just a little bit higher than the center, because it still has to work its way through the oil filter, which is dry right now. So that's going to drop down just a little bit, so it's okay to have it just a little bit higher, as you can see there. Alright folks, so that's the oil change portion of this. Don't forget to subscribe and like, thumbs up would be appreciated. Give us any comments you'd like, and we're happy to answer anything we can. We have the brakes coming up next in the next video. Thanks for watching.